Brian with screenfiles.com in review. What I'm looking at today is 2020's The Old Guard, directed by Gina Prince-Bythewood. I think I'm pronouncing her last name. In any case, it's a pretty good movie. Watch it. It's currently on Netflix. Now, as you're probably aware if you've been watching this channel for any time at all, it's that my reviews don't typically begin like that. Though, as I said, it's pretty good. It's a little flabby in the middle. It runs 2 hours. The concept is really interesting by Greg Rucka, who actually was on Fat Man on Batman. I'll put a link to it on my screenfiles.com page. You might want to check it out. He's a pretty fascinating guy. But in any case, it's a pretty good movie. It stars Charlize Theron and Baron Mordo, whose name I can't pronounce. It's Chiwetel something like that. I'm so butchering it, which is why I went with Baron Mordo. In any case, the story revolves around a group of 5 people who happen to be immortal. Now, immortal by their definition is different than you may traditionally understand the term. If you've at all grown up with Greek gods, that was a huge thing of mine when I was younger, you knew them to be immortal, which is to say they cannot be killed. Now, the beings that exist in the Old Guard aren't quite that. They live very long times, and for all intents and purposes, they're as close to immortal as we're likely to get, obviously meaning within the world of a television show. Though in actuality, they're less immortal and more like Wolverine, in the sense that they have remarkable healing powers. So let's say you shoot them enough times. They will die for a time, and then their bodies will eject the bullets and they'll be back on their feet again relatively soon. It hurts. It will temporarily slow them down because they have to recover from their death. But they do technically die, though as a concept it's very interesting. It also doesn't really make sense. Or I should say, less that it doesn't make sense than it's not fleshed out enough. I'll give you an example of what I mean. One of the group is killed temporarily, though how it's done is where the inconsistencies, the unexplained lie. He's actually shot him out and his brains blew out the back of his head. Now, let's say his healing ability is that remarkable that he were able to recover from that. And in the movie, this was the case. But the brain holds memories. Now, so if a amount of your brain the size of a fist is lost, even if what were to remain were to heal, how is it that those memories are still there? It doesn't quite make sense. It's a small point, mind you, and I haven't read the graphic novel this is based upon, also called The Old Guard, so I can't speak to if that was explained in the graphic novels. But as it's shown in the movies, it just doesn't make sense. Oh, another thing that doesn't make sense. Their bones have memory, which is a really odd concept. Now keep in mind something. We don't quite know why they can do these things. They just do. And part of the plot, in fact, is that there's this pharmaceutical company. They're all evil, by the way, like in real life. In any case, there's this pharmaceutical company called, I think it's Merit Pharmaceuticals. And they want these immortals so that they can derive benefits for humanity and of course make a buck because evil pharmaceutical company. Now, as I was saying, when they're injured, their bones not only repair themselves, but they repair themselves to the state they were in prior to the injury. This obviously means that there's some type of memory, like muscle memory, which is essentially the body knows how to do something that the mind necessarily doesn't. I'll give you an example of what I mean. Typically, when I use my computer, I use relatively long passwords. We're talking 12 digits of random numbers, letters, and characters. Now the thing is, sometimes I forget the password, but put me in front of the keyboard, I will probably remember it. And when I say remember it, I mean my fingers remember it. The muscle memory remembers it. In my mind, I'm actually drawing a blank, but just putting my fingers on the keyboards, I'm able to do it most of the time. So as I said, this goes unexplained, but the way the movie ends, it implies that there will be a sequel. And seeing how high it's been right on Netflix's charts, I assume that there will be a sequel as well. And hopefully these things will be fleshed out more, at least some explanation as to why they can do what they do, without making it mundane feeling. Though I would just like to know more about it. But as I was saying at the beginning, for my money, the most impressive thing was that it was directed by a woman, as I mentioned earlier, Gina Prince-Bythewood. And the thing is, that's not to imply that women can't direct action. Though, let's be honest, it's not something they're typically allowed, for whatever reason, to do. And she does it pretty well. The thing is, though, choreographing fights is difficult. Filming them, I think, in some ways is just as hard, because you want to impart a sense of drama, of strength, of speed and agility, and passion. And as of yet, Prince-Bythewood doesn't quite have that. The fight choreography is actually pretty interesting. The problem is it's not filmed as well as it perhaps could be. The takes are very rapid. It's clear what's actually happening, but it's hard to engage in because the takes are too fast, the camera is moving too rapidly. It doesn't give you time to soak in the action. Now, there may be reasons for that, but from a visual standpoint, I don't tend to like fights like that. Like if you, by way of example, if you take a look at any of the, well, I should say the second John Wick movie, because it's the only one I've seen and I've been just underwhelmed by it, so I don't feel the need to watch any more of them. But the fight choreography in that movie is excellent, and it has an edge to it, but it's not moving so quick that you can't keep up with it. Unlike how the fights are shot in The Old Guard. The camera just needed to stop moving, or I should say, lay out the scene, let us see what's happening. Don't be so quick to cut away from it for something else. It's a very kinetic style that I don't think works well for fighting. And so that would probably be my biggest criticism of her directing. It's very good, as I said, it's a little pudgy towards the middle because I don't necessarily think this needed to last 2 hours. It just didn't. If it had lasted an hour and a half, I think it would have been just about perfect. But at 2 hours, it gets a little pudgy and could have perhaps used a little editing. So as I said, this is a pretty good movie. I think you'll enjoy it a lot. I think it's a bit of a milestone. While Prince-Bythewood is not the first woman to direct action, I know the director of Wonder Woman, her name's eluding me at the moment, and I'm pretty sure there are others as well, but the fact that I have such a difficulty recalling them implies that there aren't that many, and they're not. There should be more. And if the Old Guard says anything, it says that women, if given a chance, can do this material. It's a thoughtful movie, it's an interesting movie. The concept is perhaps not always fleshed out as I would like, which I went into earlier, though it's a good watch. If you haven't seen The Old Guard on Netflix, check it out. It's pretty good. Do you agree? Disagree? Let me know down below, and since you're there, consider a like,